15 love.
We're a bit low on the IQ level here in the commentary box, as we both come from Essex. Delighted to say it's going to get raised somewhat right now. Casey, I believe you're courtside. Hi.
Evening to Patch and Sam. Perfect conditions down here courtside. I'm still catching up from the conversation about the children and the creche and Sam falling over a child in the player dining.
Sounds like your life, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, but perfect conditions. Really excited for this matchup. I feel like Angie Kerber serves worrying me a little bit and has in the previous matches, but obviously we know that, you know, she's only played those 2 matches from coming back. But I agree with the forehand. Love to see Maria with some shape, but also really working on some depth just to push Angie off that baseline and then look to be aggressive.
I've got a few numbers on that second serve as well, Casey, so when we get to the next game, I'll you past that. Also want to see Maria tonight use her forehand down the line. I think you've got to do that against Kerber. I.e., tactically, she's got to play a smart match. She can't just come out here and just bang the ball around. She's also got enough spin on the ball to get that forehand to jump up a bit on Kerber, and Kerber does not like to play that wing above shoulder height. That has always been the play against Angie.
There were 2 great shots there. One from the camera and Maria's herself. A forehand produced in Barcelona. As she produces the first game of the evening for Team Greece. Now I was chatting to Tom Hill, who I have spent a little bit of time with my couple of cameos with Maria, and that is a new racket tonight. You may be able to get a little listen in. I will perhaps just wait on that story if we can hear. A little muted. Anyway, so she used to play with the Wilson Ultra. As you can see, this is a new racket. It's the Wilson Shift. We have talked this week, if you haven't been with us, about how Maria's got one of the heaviest head rackets out there in terms of the weight being at the top of the racket in the head. They've actually not just changed the frame, but there's about a 6 gram lighter head racket for her this season. So it'll be interesting. It's still got the weight of it, but perhaps just a little bit more control for Maria. And you'd be delighted to know, Sam, there's one more little bit of information.
Oh, goodness.
There's that forehand down the line you were talking about, and it should give her that control that she's looking for. She was...
it's a different colour as well, isn't it?
No, it's a completely different racket from the Ultra.
Is that the extra bit of information?
No, she had a 16-19 string pattern. She's gone to 16-20, so she's got bigger gaps between the strings, which will give more spin on the ball.
Be still, my beating heart.
Which, if you were a social player at your local club, that would be an expensive change of string pattern, because you will break strings more often. But obviously, as a pro, and Maria changes her racket with the new balls, you're not going to break strings that quickly.
That's about where I am at the moment, social level at the club. So I think I'm sticking. Casey, I just want to get your thoughts. Just the previous point, Maria she got a very ultra flat backhand, and she's going hard with that cross court into Angie's forehand, got burnt down the line with the Kerber forehand. I think that's a terrible pattern of play for her. I don't think she'll get anything out of that tonight.
Yeah, I'd agree, Sam. You know, it's her trademark shot, that forehand down the line of Kerber, and when she flattens it out. I agree. I feel like Key is above the shoulders of Kerber, but she draws you in. The Kerber that played many times in the past just draws you into playing her game style, and you just don't want to get sucked into that.
So if she goes to the forehand, I'd like to see her go with heavy spin, but here she didn't get in a sort of rhythmical rally with Angie. She actually changed the angle really quickly, which was good. I'm not entirely still strategically she's got it right, but maybe just about getting enough. Okay.
Game, Team Greece. Team Greece lead 2 games to 1.
That's a very good start, and the win predictor also just hanging in there for a couple of games just to give itself a little tweak in the right direction. 64% chance for Sakkari, and you would expect that given the way that she's played the last few seasons. And after breaking early, she has a better than the top 100 average chance of going on to claim this opening set.
Petch, what type of string does Sakkari use, just out of interest?
Polyester. Didn't get quite that gnarly in terms of it with Tom. Actually, I'll message him and ask him if they've changed the string as well. There was an awful lot of information there. I think Sam might have left the commentary box.
Well, I think that those intricate details when you change things with rackets like weight, and they make such a big difference. And yeah, I'm just wonder what string she actually uses in terms of getting spin and shape on the ball.
Alu Power, sorry. I should have had that at my disposal.
What is it, Petch?
Luxalon. Alu Power.
Okay. Not doing your job, Pet. You're not doing your job, Pet.
Yeah, no, you won't be hitting with that one, Sam.
No.
My arm would fall off,
yeah,
wouldn't
I think
it?
so.
Yeah, it's a very stiff poly, isn't it? Gosh, we've got into the weeds early on here, haven't we?
Yes, but at the same time, there's a big argument that Sakkari has put herself over the last 3 seasons in the kind of 1% zone, which a difference like this will transform her from having been a semi-finalist at majors into one that potentially takes home the silverware.
No, I like the fact that she's looked at it and prepared to change. And just as a comparison, I remember the story of Serena Williams many years ago. It took her about 4 or 5 years of when she was hitting and working with Sasha Bayin for him to get her to use some poly along with her gut. That's how long it took. I know she'd had a great deal more success. And then when she did hit with it, she was like, oh, why didn't I do this before? And then went on to win more slams.
Great discipline from Sakkari.
40-30.
His backhand is a shot that is world class. Of course, a natural right-hander, Angie.
She's one of those non-true lefties that are floating around this week, unlike Casey, who is one of the genuine articles.
Juice.
Good awareness and understanding of where she needed to put that ball, Kerber, as she hustled up to it.
For me, that backhand cross-court could get her in trouble tonight because it is so flat going into the Kerber forehand, and she loves pace. If she's going to go there, it's got to be that. It's got to be that good. Otherwise, she's going to get burnt down the line, or she's going to get trapped in that cross-court rally with the German.
Let for serve. Advantage Team Greece.
One of the upsides for Maria will be, I would imagine, on the serve, the fact that she's taken that weight out the head of the racket. She's going to have a little bit more control of that racket face. I would think at the end of the season it will be interesting to see her numbers on the wide serve on the ad side.
Game,
over the last couple of seasons, she's been very predictable with the serve down the tee on the ad, but that's partly because of the heaviness of the racket. And you can see there, directs one out wide and gets the desired result. 3-love. Well, we're staying in Sydney and we pop out west to come. Do as I say, not as I do. Was I lip reading correctly there or not?
Very, very good. The groups, and particularly the youngsters as well.
I'll tell you what, Maria's been doing well also in the last 12 months. Has been playing lefties. Yeah. She was 8-2 last season against Southpaws. Won her last 5.
Thank you, players. Ready, please.
We were talking earlier about the serving stats of Kerber, and again, sort of a closer look at them against Paolini. Got a lot of first serves in, only won half the points behind it. That's very difficult, but just over 40% behind the second. She was only able to win. She was broken 6 times. And then against Garcia, let's put the first set aside because Garcia was just still in the pre-season. Then in the second set, again, her numbers where she was barely over, winning over 40% behind her second serve, and she was broken 4 times. So that's a struggle, isn't it?
Such a good point from Sakkari. Exactly the way she needs to play, not just against Kerber. Such a big hit through the middle of the court, not trying to risk too much early in the rally. She went back and had a little look on the highlights of Kerber against Sakkari in the Grampians Trophy back in 2021, where actually hit quite a few of those off backhand returns on the due side into Angie's backhand. Didn't take it line into the forehand. Things getting tougher for Team Germany. Kerber missing with her favourite shot down the line. Sakkari flawless in the opening 4 games.
We'll see what the response is here from Kerber, but that serve is certainly worrying, isn't it? I think the thing that Kerber always had was the fact that she would be so tight on returns, but the way that the women have been serving, whether it be Sakkari or Garcia, they're just setting up their points so much better these days. Getting that +1 shot.
Never easy when you're chasing a score like this to be as patient as perhaps you need to be, and the unforced error count is slowly escalating here for Kerber.
It's actually a very good serve against Angie. She doesn't generate a lot of power on the return. That also got above her shoulders on the backhand side. The mantra against Kerber is just don't give her too many hard flat shots. That's the ball that she really loves, particularly on that forehand wing. That's where she's going to hurt you.
Game, Team Greece.
Running right.
Team
5 in a
Greece,
row.
5 to love.
Apart from the incentive, obviously, to try and pick up the trophy for Team Greece, and being part of a team has been a big love of Maria's. Obviously, on the WTA side, awful lot of points on offer if you go undefeated for the women here at the United Cup. Even you win your 5 matches, you are guaranteed to get 500 points. There is a whole ranking system here if you beat players in the top 10 and everything else. Alex de Minaur leads the men at the moment with 135 points. Iga Swiatek with 145. But if you go undefeated, 500 points in the bag at the start of the season is very nice. 4-1 will make you 325 points.
Yeah, I think to make the maths a little more simple, that is the equivalent of winning a WTA 500 event.
And seeing as Maria's only won a couple of events in her lifetime, Guadalajara and Rabat back in 2019, it's a big deal. Torben waving a Sam earlier. I don't think he's going to be waving to anybody right now. He is trying to solve the conundrum out here on the Ken Rosewell Arena that is Maria Sakkari. Casey, what would you like to see from Angie at the back end of this opening set?
Time.
Well, it's tough, isn't it? I feel like for Angie, her kind of always her plan B is to just go into a bit of beast mode where she was just like fought hard, dug out balls, just made so many balls that you know your opponent would start to make some errors. But Sakkari's been pretty impressive so far, and she seems like she's striking the ball. So, you know, maybe Angie just needs to free up the shoulders. I feel like she's a little bit nervous out here, maybe a little bit flat-footed. Get some adrenaline going, get some blood pumping through the legs, and see how she goes. At least get on the scoreboard.
That's the first point that we were talking about. Kerber's winning percentage on her second serve. That's the first point she's won behind it. And look what it took to do so. I have to say, Sakkari might have lost that point, but I love the fact she didn't allow herself to get trapped. And by trapped, I mean her backhand cross to Angie's forehand in that diagonal rally. She maybe hits 1 or 2 there, and then immediately she goes down the line. I'm sure that's something. I mean, if we spoke to Tom about something other than rackets, I'm sure that is the strategy for coming in here. That particular pattern of play. Forehand of Maria is big, and actually interesting today on her average from the last couple of Australian Opens and first couple of matches here at the United Cup, she's just taken the edge off her, actually.
Yep.
It's not quite as big as when she came out. She was around that sort of 7.20. I know it's only a little, but you know, she's taken something off.
Well, that will be a little bit of a function of taking some of the weight out the racket, and also just the way that she's played. She's played with beautiful control. She's played nice linear tennis when she's needed to, but has dug in and been disciplined with the diagonal shots as well.
Deuce.
Saved 4 set points in her opening set against Leylah Fernandez the other evening. Did Sakkari. First set point on her side of the net this time. Slides by.
Advantage Team Germany.
Just has to be so careful she doesn't get that racket face too open on that backhand wing. Otherwise, whatever the string set up and the racket heaviness, it's going to fly over the baseline. I don't think anything can give you more control if the face is that open and you try and hit the ball so hard.
She has absolutely lasered that, and that was not a long follow through.
Advantage Team Germany.
That's interesting. Look at Maria's record actually against left-handers on different surfaces. Overall, she's 25-1, 17 lost, but on the quicker surfaces, when you get to hard and grass, she has a very nice record. 21-9 lost. It's on clay, where that backhand cross into the lefty's forehand isn't quite as effective. Glues it to the line.
Advantage Team Greece.
And sticks to her task beautifully in this opening set. 7th forehand winner, none for Kerber, and no games on the board either for the former Australian Open champion. Second 6-love set of the United Cup for Maria Sakkari. Team.
Love 15.
There's a cliche in tennis that beware the 6-love set, but if you look at everyone's results in general across tennis, if you do win a set in a match 6-love, you tend to go on and win the match. Maria did lose a couple last year when she won a set 6-love. Marcia Kuschuk at Wimbledon, having won the Open as 6-love. Lost to the Ukrainian 7-5, 6-2 after that. And Emma Navarro, who started the year strongly, and in San Diego, losing it in a final set breaker. She's 29-4 over the course of her career, and at the moment, Kerber is very much second best out here. It's the other shot that might get a little. Effective and easier for her to play with a slightly lighter racket in the head as well, to be able to manipulate the racket head for the touch shots.
Doesn't need to do anything different at this stage. Just keep driving the car, same speed, same intensity. Doesn't need to, for me, change the pattern at all of play. It's working. And certainly not push any harder. She's calibrated this absolutely right. Don't want to see her overplay here.
Game, Team Greece. New balls, please. First game, second set.
Already in 2024, looks like we've got a new elevated version of Maria Sakkari, and 7 straight games on the bounce for her at the start of this final quarterfinal.
You know what Mark Philippoussis was saying when he helped her on the grass, he still feels that she needs to let the racket head go much more on the serve, and I'm just wondering if the slightly lighter frame may allow her to snap a bit more and just not steer it as much as she used to. I wonder where that when you're chatting to Tom, I could go and have a chat to Tom, but I wonder where that conversation about the racket came from. You know, was it just a general, let's think about everything? Yeah,
they had a big sit down at the end of the year. And listen, when you look around tennis and you look at how many people get misplaced throughout the course of the season, and particularly at the end of the season, and then replaced consistently, recycled in tennis, the coaches don't stay long enough with their players to get to a point where you can have that conversation. And Tom's been around as a hitting partner since I first helped out with Maria in 2017. So, I mean, he's been through the whole cycle with her and Thomas Johansson, and they got Sergi Bruguera to come into Teto, and then you can have those meaningful and intricate conversations, because changing a racket is a big deal. You're not going to come and do that in the first 6 months or even year as a coach.
Especially when she's had the success on the back of the success. I gave her the Serena story. You know, when you've won slams, you're frightened to change anything. She's been top 10 for 3 years.
La 40.
Also been so impressed with the demeanour and the way that Sakkari has gone about it. We know how disciplined, professional, Pet, you've known her for long enough, but sometimes you can see on her face nerves creep in.
Game, Team Greece. Team Greece lead 2-2 love.
But I also think that has to do with that relationship with your coach, doesn't it? When you come out on court with such clarity around a game plan, or you get to have those conversations, you can walk out on court and play with a little bit more ease, and you can see tactically she's doing that tonight. But I feel for Angie because it's tough out here. It's 8 games now, and it's not a great feeling when you're a tennis player and you're out on a court, on a big court, and you're in this position.
Brilliant.
15 love.
She really is completely unfazed by playing a lefty. There's not too many righties that are this comfortable. I was also looking back at the record. I mean, it's handy that she played Leylah Fernandez as well against the Canadian. But, you know, she's had 4 wins over Petra Kvitova. She's beaten Vondrousova and Fernandez a couple of times now. I mean, they're sort of pretty much the best lefties out there, apart from Haddad Maia, the Brazilian. But it's not easy to get that sort of record against them.
New hitting partner in the team as well, Julien Cagnini from Belgium. Tom knows him. They started chatting around Wimbledon, so as you say, the changes came thick and fast at the end of 2023, and so far so good. Kerber collapses like an accordion. It's Sakkari who's hitting all the right notes. 9 love. Maria loves her time here. There's a big support in Melbourne, but while we're it's looking a little allergic to Sakkari out here. Time for the EpiPen.
Be very happy if she can save some energy, because she, given the lack of depth in the Greek team, she's going to have to play the doubles.
Kerber can start to make something of this second set and just start to get into this match somehow, because in this format, obviously she's keen for her first win, but if she doesn't win here tonight, it's 3 losses in a week, and sometimes that in itself can just, you know, that pressure and that desperation to want to get your first win can be a little bit overwhelming at times.
never lost love and love in the course of her illustrious career. Was once 9-love down against Sharapova before she pulled the ripcord back in 2012 in the quarters there.
Where was that, Melbourne?
Beijing. Glimmer of hope.
Well, Yamas, that was fabulous, wasn't it? Not seen her hit too many of those in her career. Might be a magic racket. Along with a magic coffee.
One of Kerber's trademark patented plays.
Still live though, this second set. It's one break. I think double break will be enough. You don't want to let Kerber get too much success off that shot, because that is a launch pad for her to sort of finagle her way back here.
It was the right shot. She's hurt Kerber so often with the diagonal dagger cross court on the 3/4 length that Kerber was hanging out there waiting for it. There was space for that backhand line. She's been outplayed so far, out-hit, out-thought, but she's determined to not be out of here too soon. First game on the board. Bit of traction for Germany for the first time this evening.
Still feel it's a very big deal for Maria to beat Angie Kerber. I mean, that Grampians Trophy where she did get the win, I mean, that was just a unique set of circumstances. But, you know, throughout her career, Angie has really owned her. It's been a very difficult matchup. If you look at when they first played in Hong Kong back in 2016, I mean, that was one of the best years of Angie's career. I'd imagine that would have been fairly fast hard courts there. Angie was #1 in the world. Maria was just inside the world's top 100. And the second time they played a couple of years later in Rome, you know, Angie was still a top player and Maria was making her way. She was top 50. There's always been quite a big ranking disparity apart from the last few meetings.
30-15.
And now she's the one, you know, to be got at here. She's the one expected to win. That hasn't happened really. I think the last couple of times they played, the ranking was pretty even. So all the pressure is on her tonight here.
Something a little special from Kerber.
30-all.
Chance for Kerber to get back in this.
Yes.
Casey will know this. When you come in against Angie, 9 times out of 10 she passes you cross court. When she was playing Serena, Serena would just come in and move there straight away. Cannot believe that Maria didn't cover that.
No, maybe tactically wasn't the one thing maybe perhaps that was mentioned.
Well, you've got to mention that. I mean, it could be the difference. So there's 1 or 2 points. You've got to cover the cross court pass.
Differences courtside at the moment, particularly from Kerber. First set, I didn't feel like she had much energy, but it's so interesting. I felt like there was a small, you know, when your player starts to just let out that little bit of a grunt, like they've got some of that adrenaline pumping now, and I feel like there's a little bit more pace on the ball of Kerber, a little bit more depth.
Sublimity from Kerber. Exquisite shot down the line. And we are back on serve in Sydney.
Gut, Angie. Jetzt sage ich auch nichts mehr. Das war der Schlag von mir.
partnership is very much in tune with what each other needs.
Indian Wales.
Here in Sydney, the soundtrack of cheers has not been accompanied too often by a winner from Team Germany, but Angie Kerber detonates one onto the line.
Time.
And that is a roar of relief and just a hint of expectation now and optimism from Team Germany. That's what they came to see, these fans.
15-all.
To me, that was a really smart return. I don't know if it was intentional, but it was sort of through the middle, but at the backhand of Angie Kerber, and that's really where you want it for her, because she doesn't allow her to look for that forehand after the serve. It doesn't open up any angle. Wasn't a lot she could do with it. And you can see that's where Sakkari was able to set up the point. You can see the second set, that's what Angie's been looking for after the first serve.
How good was that backhand down the line from Sakkari? This one here just lets the racket face go.
She's got it.
And Team Greece.
Awesome athleticism.
Team Greece lead for MC2.
Well, there has always been fortitude about the way Maria plays. There's been a little bit of frailty at times, less so these days. That was world class. Kerber doing such a good job to pump the brakes on the scoreboard in the last couple of games. Can do nothing about that.
Love 15.
It was also world class is getting the immediate break back. I mean, look at sort of boxes you want to tick for great players, great Grand Slam contenders. That's what they do more often than not. Only she's only able to do that about a third of the time in her matches on hard courts from last year. Let's see if she can do it a little more this season. Sure, there are many players that hit that shot better. Maybe Iga Świątek can find that angle, but not too many.
I think it's going to be interesting to watch just how dangerous she could be going down the line with the backhand with the racket change. Don't want to get into the reads again with it, but the fact is it is going to naturally give her a little bit more height over the net. You're going to have to guard the line more, whereas often in the past against Maria you didn't. You always covered the cross court.
Well, it's so dangerous for her to go down the line, wasn't it? The high part of the net with such a flat shot.
Kerber using up all her powder to get those couple of games. Sakkari with even more ammunition though, 5-2.
Players are going to give us some good stuff every now and again. You're also going to fuck up every now and again.
It's okay if they give us, but you can be supplying to back and not let them in.
Maria, sometimes we're going to fuck up, and that happens. But the good thing is, you recognize it, you bounce back, solid then. Yes, you're right. There was a few points, maybe the return, a couple shots. Yeah, you fucked up. There's also a couple shots where she came up with something good. It's fine. What we need to worry about is you. And you keep playing your tennis. I don't care what Kerber does. I care about you.
Ever doing a nice job of wrapping Maria in an embrace of words. Everyone kind of at times looks from the outside and looks at Maria at being emotional. The one thing I will always say in her defense, the first time I ever turned up and worked with her in 2017, I said, you know, you've got nice volleys and I think you can use your touch a bit better, your drop shot. She said, why do you say that? And I was like, well, because that's what I see. And she said, well, I know I've been told my whole life I've got no hands. And I really feel for her in a lot of ways, having had that period with her, because I do feel as though words are the most important thing that you'll ever impart to your player. I mean, obviously knowledge is a part of it, but the way you impart that knowledge is as important, if not more important, than actually the knowledge itself. Oh, that is absolutely gorgeous from Kerber.
15 all.
And if somebody has done that, firstly, it's stupid, number one, because why would you say it even if it's true? Because you never want to open up a gaping wound if you don't have to. And number two, work on it. You can get it better. and then just finishing that thought. So my empathy is very much with Maria. I don't think that that is a frailty of hers, that mentality when you hear her in the changeover there saying, I'm letting her back in. I think it stems from a long way back.
What a terrible thing to say to a young player who loves the game.
Yeah. And she's overcome that to be one of the best players in the world. And she may well this season go on to win one of the biggest titles in the world. This has been emphatic and it has been excellent. She has overwhelmed a three-time Grand Slam champion. Angie, on the other hand, has tried to work hard to stay in the conversation in this second set. There was a brief moment when it happened at 3-2.
She's just being fractionally less proactive than she has been for the rest of the match.
Game, Team Germany. Team Greece lead 5-3.
Okay, come on.
Love 15.
Let's go, Maria.
30 all.
She'll look down and out, but she is showing all of her champion qualities. Waited for the ball to come to her. Plenty of aggression and belief attached to the return.
Yes.
Fabulous response from Sakkari down break point.
That's a really good sign, isn't it? How much trust that she has in the racket in her game.
Kerber tonight is heated up like an iron, but it seems as though Sakkari a little too hot to handle. Match point number 3.
First of all. Game, set of match, Team Greece.
Fully deserving of the win.
2 sets to love. 6-love, 6-3.
Team Greece take a 1-0 lead in this final quarter-final of the United Cup.